Solo Sikoa has gone rogue. He's defying the wise man's advice, and he's enlisted the help of more family to wipe out Jey Uso. The Bloodline is taking on a new form, but who is behind it? And what is their goal? Well, Paul Heyman is wondering the same thing, and as Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa are walking backstage, they're stopped by the wise man, and he says, Solo, so, what did you mean when you said the assault on Jimmy was by order of the tribal chief? Because as the special counsel, I usually hear about such matters. But Solo cuts him off and says, it means what it means. By order of your tribal chief. The wise man is left none the wiser, but the roster is on notice, and Solo and Tama Tonga take over and hijack the entire show. They blow apart matches with intense violence. It's about stamping their authority and making sure the Bloodline stays in the headlines. But what also makes headlines is Solo's message after the final beatdown, and he says, losing has consequences, huh? We're all seeing it right now. But we have a message for someone in particular. Cody Rhodes. Let it be known that the tribal chief is coming for you. Because we are taking it all back. But as Solo is delivering this message, we see Jey Uso limp out. He's still not cleared to be here, but this is far bigger than any injury. This is personal. This is family. But as he struggles down toward the ring, Solo says, brother, you need to learn when to stay down. But if you want it, and Jimmy interjects and says, you damn right I want it. Tama, you versus me. And you can feel the backlash. Jimmy trying to get revenge on Tama Tonga, but it's against Doctor's orders. He's not even close to being cleared for action, but as he said, this isn't about injuries, it's about family. And it's also about to be all over because Tama Tonga takes advantage of the situation and destroys him. He lays him out and beats him. But of course, it's nowhere near over for Jimmy because Solo and Tama continue the beatdown and decimate him. Paul Heyman is trying to get them to stop, but they won't. And another man who perhaps could stop them won't do it either. Jey Uso watches on as his own brother gets destroyed. He wants to stay out of it because after narrowly losing to Damian Priest at Backlash, he's now focusing on trying to win the King of the Ring tournament in Saudi Arabia. And he gets through his qualifying matches, and he shows out, and he shows that he's on his own, and he's thriving. But he's got a huge task if he wants to actually take the crown, because his opponent in the final will be none other than Ring General Gunther. But meanwhile, over on SmackDown, Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa continue to run roughshod. They destroy everyone as a unit, both backstage and in actual sanctioned tag team matches, all while Paul Heyman cowers and is seemingly forced to go along with it. He tries to call Roman Reigns continuously, but he's stopped. Heyman is desperate to know if it is in fact Roman who is still pulling the strings. But regardless, Solo and Tama Tonga continue to try and make their impact. And they head over to Saudi Arabia to ensure the message is sent worldwide. But not only that, there seems to be expansion potential with more family rumored to be showing up. And it's now time to crown the King of the Ring, and like their previous battles, it's incredibly entertaining and brutal. Jey should have been the one to dethrone Gunther of his Intercontinental Championship if it wasn't for his own brother Jimmy, which has contributed to Jey simply watching on as this new Bloodline have been making Jimmy's life hell. But now, it's looking more like they're going to turn their attention to him. During the match, we see Solo and Tama walking towards the arena. They're going to come out and pull this match apart as well. But before they can, they're cut off by Adam Pearce, who is flanked by enormous security. But instead of trying to tear through them, they don't even bother. Because they know they don't have to. It's Jacob Fatu! He's dropped Jey, and the referee didn't see a thing! And now Gunther capitalizes, picks him up, and power bombs him brutally onto the canvas. Gunther wins the King of the Ring, and he heads off while the rest of this new bloodline heads out. They brutalize Jey. All three of his own relatives, including his own brother, completely demolish him. They leave him laying in the ring and they stand over him. And this intimidating force is looking as strong as ever, but the question still remains. Who is pulling the strings? Because if this is by order of the tribal chief, who is actually wearing the Ulafala? Losing has consequences. We trimmed the fat. We leveled up, and now we the ones. Jey, Jimmy, you the Jey, much like his brother, even though he isn't 100%, is still willing to throw himself into the fight. He meets Tama Tonga first, and because he's armed, he manages to get him down, but then he's completely blindsided by Fatu, and he's able to accost his cousin. But as Solo looks on, it's not only that brother that he has to worry about, because now Jimmy is here, and he's armed as well. He takes out Solo, blasting him with a steel chair over and over again. Fatu turns to look at what the commotion is, but it opens the door for Jey to crack him with a chair as well. And it forces the bloodline to retreat for once, leaving Jey and Jimmy back to back in the ring, but then face to face. Jey doesn't seem ready to forgive Jimmy, but even so, Jimmy doesn't seem ready to give up on revenge. And the week after, he demands to face Jacob Fatu in his first ever match in WWE. And with Jimmy having a little bit more time to recover this time, it's a little more competitive. But still overall, the match is dominated by Fatu. Jimmy does, however, manage to catch him flush with a super kick, and then another one, and it knocks him down, and he goes up top, ready to hit the splash. But then he's pushed off, but the referee didn't see it, because Solo was distracting him, and it's a whitewash from there. Jimmy gets put down and pinned by Jacob Fatu. But as always, this three-man militia isn't done. They descend on Jimmy and commence the now expected beatdown. It's not good, because the numbers of who would help are dwindling because of Jimmy's past as well.
Wrestling has many.
It's Cody Rhodes! Of all the people to come to the rescue, it's the WWE Champion! A man held down by Jimmy's version of the Bloodline! But he goes after Solo, and he lays him out with a crossroads! But then he gets blasted by Fatu! He's an animal, and he snuffs out the rally. But he isn't alone. Jey is here now, and he drops Tama Tonga with a spear on the outside! He gets in the ring, Fatu slides in after him, and they start trading. But it's going to take a hell of a lot to take the Samoan werewolf down. But Jey doesn't have to do it alone. He's quickly joined by Jimmy, and they double team Jacob Fatu. They combine once again, and they're able to take down the big man. It's a real moment. It's something the people have wanted. And they clean house, and it leaves Jimmy, Jey, and Cody standing tall. Jimmy and Jey are face to face like before, but Cody this time stands in between them and says, Jey, this is your blood. This is your family. Since day one. Second chances are rare in this industry. And this is your chance to pay it forward. You need each other. But not only that, we all need you. Fatu and Tonga have made a challenge to the newly reformed Usos, and it was met with a resounding yes. But the question still remains, who is running the Bloodline? The answer to that will have to wait, but what doesn't have to wait is this battle. It's ferocious. The Usos, of course, are a slick machine. They haven't skipped a beat. and they're all over Fatu and Tamatonga, and it's right back to the classic Usos that we know and love. Until, just like he debuted, Solo pops up at Clash of the Castle from under the ring and blasts Jimmy with a Samoan spike before rolling back under undetected. Jey has speared off the apron by Tamatonga, and Fatu grabs Jimmy, puts him in the ring, and nails him with the moonsault, and the Bloodline wins. But that play was executed in a very similar fashion to that of Roman Reigns, which leads to speculation that he is in fact the one that is behind this resurgence. And another layer is added to the theory on SmackDown when Paul Heyman himself heads up the family as its wise man, and he has a message for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and we said a while ago that we weren't even remotely close to the end of the game. People would ask, what inning are we in? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bloodline we're talking about. We will be stronger and more dominant than ever. But for that to happen, we need to take the power back. Cody Rhodes. Solo has said it before, but I will say it again. We will take it all back, because wins and losses matter around here. And it will be the loss that you take at the hands of the tribal chief that will restore order. Heyman with strong words, but the question is, who is claiming to be the tribal chief? Is it Roman Reigns? Or is it the heir to the throne, Solo Sikoa? Or is it a far more sinister boss that sits at the head of the table? Well, at Money in the Bank in Toronto, it's time to find out. Because there is a tribal council to reveal who has been pulling all the strings of this operation, but it's led very curiously by Solo Sikoa. The world wants to know, who is the true tribal chief? Who has been behind all this dominance? Well, the answer should be obvious. We are behind all the violence and destruction. We are behind putting the Bloodline back where it should be. But who? Where's the Ulafala? Who is our tribal chief? Well, let me show you. Looks like it's The Rock who is behind the whole thing. He saunters out and the crowd is on fire. He gets in the ring and Paul Heyman looks shocked. It seems like he was not informed that it was The Rock. And Solo, perhaps the same. But The Rock doesn't care and he says, "You thought the Bloodline story was over. You think our family just lays down in the face of defeat? No chance. We didn't get bitter. We got better. So we leveled up. We cut the bullshit and we cut the dead weight." That ain't all. Oh, no. Cody Rhodes. You beat Roman Reigns. Sure as hell didn't beat The Rock. So while you might have beaten the so-called tribal chief, now you have to beat the final boss. We're coming for you, boy. If you smell what the real Bloodline and the real tribal chief is cooking. The Rock is back, and this is not good news for the WWE. The man who was most blindsided in Paul Heyman quietly stands at ringside and softly says, "Call Roman Reigns." I'll be honest, I thought I'd defeated the Bloodline. I thought that story was over. But it appears, while I defeated the tribal chief, I still have a final boss ahead of me. But as he's saying this, he gets surrounded by Solo, Tama, and Fatu. It's a never-ending story for Cody. This family is haunting him constantly. He's about to get demolished, just like the rest. But then, the cavalry arrives. Jey grabs Tama Tonga, and Jimmy grabs Jacob Fatu. But there's still one more. And who else would help Cody but his Shield, Seth Rollins? He grabs Solo, and the brawl is on. They outnumber the Bloodline, and they stand with Cody Rhodes once again. There is a genuine civil war bubbling underneath the surface, and it's ready to explode. And it leads to a big 6-man tag team main event the week before SummerSlam, where of course, The Rock has flexed his corporate muscle to put himself in a match with Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, citing the fact that he pinned him at WrestleMania as the reason. But there's no sign of The Rock in this match, but there is signs of plenty of aggression and personal beef. The Bloodline's sole aim is to soften Cody up ahead of his showdown with The Rock, and they triple team him and keep him isolated. It's absolutely brutal. Jimmy and Jey are helpless on the apron, so they make the executive decision that the result isn't as important as making sure Cody Rhodes goes in as fresh as possible. They jump down off the apron and they blow the match apart, and it fully breaks down. It's carnage again, but this time it's actually 3-on-3, and the Bloodline gets on top. They drop all of them, and then The Rock has destroyed Rollins! And Cody sees this, runs down, tries to get at The Rock, but he gets dropped as well. And now, The Rock stands over Cody Rhodes and says, "I told you, didn't I, boy? I told you I'd hold the WWE Championship for real. Well, at SummerSlam, that vision comes true. Yeah, I'll reveal to the world exactly what I handed you on the Raw after WrestleMania as well. And maybe, just maybe, I'll finally hand Mama Rhodes that blood-covered weight belt. Cody Rhodes, I'll see you at SummerSlam. Your story." Rock is on another level, and he's requested that the Bloodline stay away as he doesn't want to tarnish this victory. But we all know damn well the Bloodline can't be trusted, so we take it with a pinch of salt, but The Rock might not even need them because he's smashing Cody Rhodes. He has him all bloodied up, and then the final boss takes the opportunity to go under the ring, and he puts on the weight belt. And he smears the blood of Cody all over it. Now he lets everyone know what he handed Cody Rhodes on the Raw after WrestleMania. You ready to let everyone know, Cody, huh? What did The Rock hand you? You broke The Rock's heart. Yeah, The Rock handed you Dusty's Hall of Fame ring, didn't he? And it broke The Rock's heart. You broke The Rock's heart by not taking care of his legacy like you should. It got sold, didn't it? And you let that happen. So The Rock got it back. And just like you broke The Rock's heart now, I'm gonna break yours. Yeah. I'm gonna take your title. And I'm gonna hand this belt to Mama Rhodes. The Rock is ready to wrap things up, and he starts to walk over to hand Cody Rhodes' mother the bloodied weight belt.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
It's Rollins! He's back, and he leaps the barricade to take it to The Rock! He's sick of the Bloodline like everyone else! But that quickly brings out Fatu, Tama, and Solo! And we see backstage, the Usos are down! They got to them first! And The Rock manages to put Seth Rollins through the announce table, taking him out of the fight! And while Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga finish off Cody Rhodes in the ring, Solo hangs back. Then, they exit the ring and leave Cody to The Rock. This is the absolute worst case scenario. The Rock gets in the ring, stands over Rhodes, and he's going to finish him off with the people's elbow. Roman Reigns wearing the real Ulafala. He won't be denied. He runs to the ring and he spears Solo. He spears Tama Tonga and he spears Jacob Fatu. He then slides in the ring and he spears The Rock with all the force he can muster. And unbelievably, after Roman leaves the ring, Cody manages to crawl his way over and get the cover. Cody escapes and barely defeats the final boss. The Rock, along with Solo, Tama, and Jacob Fatu, all stand on the stage and witness what we never thought we would see. Roman is face to face with Seth and Cody, and he says, "I acknowledge you both, but I've got some redemption to work through. This isn't about us. This is about family. So we will take it from here." Roman Reigns has a lot of work to do to atone for what he's done. And his redemption tour starts by calling out Jimmy and Jey Uso on SmackDown. Jimmy, Jey, I want my actions to do the talking. But all I can say is I was blinded by all the power. I was only in it for myself. And I lost sight of everything that is truly important. But it took me losing everything to realize it. But now, I'm not interested in power. Because The Rock is claiming to be the tribal chief, and he's never earned that title. I don't want to keep that title for power. I want to keep it for honor. Instead of doing it for my own gain, I actually want to lift the family up. And we started this together. So let's finish it. Let's go to war. The Usos hear it all. They take it in. They don't say or do anything except walk away. Where are their heads at? Do they actually trust Roman Reigns, or is it just a ruse in order to keep his status as the tribal chief? It's impossible to know. But what we do know is that Roman sets about showing that he's reformed, and he doesn't just talk about it. He makes an official return to the ring against none other than Tama Tonga at Bash in Berlin, who was the man who started this revolt with Solo months ago. And it's a personal fight like so many others we've seen between these families. And despite all the shenanigans thrown at him by all the members of the Bloodline, it's Roman Reigns that manages to scrape past Tama Tonga by disqualification after the cousins chose to beat him down rather than have a proper fight. It was bad under the Roman Reigns regime, but that has nothing on the kind of destructive nature this new version has. Pick him apart. It's all orders of the self-proclaimed tribal chief, The Rock. But as this is all happening, the brothers Uso watch on and do nothing. Why would they help him when he refused to help them for so long? Roman has a lot of ground to make up if he's to have any allies, let alone his own family. But Roman, seemingly on the island of relevancy alone, finds an ally, and it's Paul Heyman, who meets him secretly, which is incredibly dangerous given Heyman is still under the thumb of the final boss and this new bloodline. But Heyman says, "My tribal... Mr. Reigns, I don't have any time, but I wanted to let you know that I have something for you. It's a telephone number. That's all I can say. The Rock is about to make a challenge, and I think it might benefit you to give this number a call. I know you have Jimmy and Jay's numbers too. My advice, as, well, your wise man, is to call their number as well. Anyway, I have to go. Heyman risks it all to give Roman the heads up. And the lead up to Survivor Series is where things really start to get combustible. Because The Rock has a very clear goal, and he wants to be officially acknowledged as the tribal chief. Finally, the Bloodline has come back to the top of WWE. Yeah, it feels good. While The Rock didn't manage to beat Cody Rhodes, The Rock realized that at this point, it's about more than championships. This is about family, and the family is on top of the industry, which makes the top prize in the industry the Ulafala that hangs around the neck of Roman Reigns. Well, let's talk Roman Reigns, huh? Yeah. In fact, let's talk about all of the outcasts, all of the dead weight, the ones that we cut from the family. Roman, you mentioned you want to go to war. Well, so do we. Because this is a civil war. And we want you to fight us in Civil War Games. The Rock drops a bombshell! He wants Civil War Games at Survivor Series! But what is the answer to the challenge? Well, we find out immediately. The original Bloodline, back full circle! Roman made the phone call at the advice of the wise man. But that is the two calls that he made. Who was the third? We're gonna have to find out on the night, but it seems like Roman's redemption tour has an important stop at Survivor Series. The match is officially about to start, but we need the final member of Team Reigns. And it brings this family issue to an absolute boiling point. Roman Reigns made the call to Zilla Fatu. He's reached deep into the family tree and plucked one of the youngest yet biggest prospects. And with that, the match gets underway and the carnage goes to a whole new level. All 8 men throw everything at each other. Civil War Games is such a fitting spot for the latest turn in this story. But it all boils down to 3 men. Roman, The Rock, and Solo. Roman is desperately fighting them off, but it's no use. Solo grabs him and buries him with a Samoan spike. He gets down and he covers Roman, but The Rock stops him and says, "Solo, nah. The final boss will finish this off." Solo paves the way for the final boss to win the match for the team. But it was under duress. But nonetheless, they win. The Rock laps up the credit, but he still hasn't accomplished his goal, which is to take the Ulafala and call himself the Tribal Chief. And as we turn our attention towards the Royal Rumble, it's where The Rock wants to up the stakes even more. Just like that, we take over. We're more dominant, we're more aggressive, and we're more successful than anything or anyone under the Roman Reigns regime. We leveled up, and there's one more thing we want, and that is what's draped over Roman's neck. And we all know that this match is gonna happen, yeah. The biggest match in WrestleMania history. Roman Reigns versus The Rock. A main event anywhere in the world. But we need something extra. And how do we decide that? Well, The Rock has a plan. Solo, come on up here with your tribal chief. Solo, you're gonna fight for the family. You versus Roman Reigns for the first time ever at the Royal Rumble. If you win, The Rock chooses the stipulation for his match. And if you lose, which you won't, Roman Reigns chooses the stipulation for WrestleMania. The final boss is here to drive the final nail into your coffin, Roman Reigns. If you smell the true tribal chief is cooking. No sign of The Rock, even though he has so much on the line in this one. And it takes no time at all for the outside of the ring to become a war zone. Fatu and Tonga immediately run around to take out the Usos at Zilla. All 5 men brawl off out to the back. And it leaves Roman and Solo for the first time ever in a proper one-on-one situation. The Tribal Chief versus the Tribal Heir. It's been so long in the making, and they do not disappoint. They brutalize each other, all in the name of winning the stipulation choice for the match that will determine the new Tribal Chief. But it wouldn't be the Bloodline without plenty of drama. Because as Roman looks for a spear to finish off Solo, he runs at him, but gets planted by a spinning Solo. And now, the heir to the throne is going to put him away. Until... Solo! Not until The Rock is ready. Yeah, I want to get a look at him. Right before you put him away. That's right. Look at you, Roman. You're pathetic. Roman, get a look at the next Tribal Chief. The real Tribal Chief. Solo. Show him just who the Tribal Chief is. Solo spikes The Rock! He's showing him exactly who he thinks the real Tribal Chief is! The heir no more! He wants the title himself! But he can't bask in his actions for too long because boom! He gets rocked and defeated by Roman Reigns! The distraction was enough for Reigns to capitalize, and now he can choose the stipulation for his match with The Rock. Roman Reigns holds all of the power as we turn for home and WrestleMania. So here we stand on the cusp of WrestleMania, and everything's been said. Everything has been done except for one thing. We haven't settled who will be known as the Tribal Chief. And I won the right to choose the stipulation. And for me, it's simple. Because I'm a man of my word. So my stipulation is a triple threat match. Roman Reigns versus The Rock versus Solo Sikoa in tribal combat. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the f*** is this bullshit? Are you kidding me? Once again, the biggest main event in history is f***ed up by someone thinking they're holier than thou. You think this is a game, Roman? You think this is funny? This is real. This is our family. But Roman interjects and says, you're right. This is about family. It's about who will lead this family. So what better way to determine it than the past versus the present versus the future? Ah, cut the bullshit, Roman. This isn't some fairy tale. This is our family legacy. This is about... Solo doesn't say a word. He doesn't have to. Because at WrestleMania, the actions will do the talking. When it's the Tribal Chief versus the heir to the throne versus the final boss. It's not the main event anyone expected, but it's the main event the family deserves. All three men fighting to lead the family into the next era. And it's true to everything we've seen so far, and because it's tribal combat, it means strictly no interference from family as laid down by the elders. And they fight all over the place. It's the wildest brawl we've seen so far. And with so much on the line, no man is willing to wilt. They desperately fight with everything, and they destroy everything in sight. It's complete carnage. But as the match and this family feud gets to its desperate final stages, we see the emergence of not family, but special counsel. Solo and Roman are slugging it out, and Paul Heyman stops them and says, "This isn't how it's meant to be. We were meant to do this together. Please." But Roman says, "This was always how it was meant to be, Paul. Solo is the heir." And Paul says, "No, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief, and only you." But Roman defiantly says, "No, the tribal chief needs a wise man, no matter who it is." Roman sees rock in the corner of his eye, and he takes a bullet for Solo Sikoa. He wears a rock bottom, opening the door for Solo to grab the rock and blast him with a Samoan spike. Solo wins the match. He wins tribal combat, and he wins the Ulafala. He is the heir no more. He wins the right to be known as tribal chief. Roman Reigns was true to his word. He always said that Solo was next. And not only does he pass on the Ulafala, he passes on the wisdom of the wise man. The Bloodline saga as we knew it is over, but the future is firmly in the hands of the new tribal chief.